all, I want to thank you, Gary, for coming back again for the third and final lecture. We've had, for some of you who missed the first or second lecture, we have it on our website, jccoc.org, on demand. And so you can look it up under Discover Your Jewish Genealogy and get the full extent of the information that she's given us in the 2 lectures. And so today, the focus is trying to come across any roadblocks or in-depth investigations that you might want to do. Some of you have started it, or if you do have questions on how to get started, I think Gary will be able to help us out with that as well. So I just want to introduce you to this wonderful lady. Gary Regev is the mother of our culinary arts director, Liron Regov. And so that's how she comes to us. She's visiting here in Irvine. She lives in Israel, and she's lived in Israel since 1978. Wow. And has done genealogical research for over 20 years. She's taught seminars and courses in genealogy at Hadassah, Touro College, the Central Zionist Archives, David Yellen College, Yad Vashem, and MyHeritage. So she's extremely knowledgeable, and we're very lucky to have her here with us to help us out. And so thank you and welcome, Gary. And I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with the people in Orange County and Irvine specifically. There was an earlier series that I did at the beginning of the pandemic, and we can always, upon requests, try another one later on. For now, I'm interested in your questions, and we'll develop the answers as we go along. I did not prepare a formal presentation, but I am happy to, I have a bunch of websites that are ready, open, and I can try to direct you on how you can best move ahead with your genealogy. So, Jerry, I'm going to kind of let you be the person to figure out who has a question to go, and I'll go from there.
Okay, well, what you can do is either raise your hand.
I would like to continue.
Or, okay, you can go first then, Natalie.
Go ahead.
I'd like to continue my question, which I posed to you earlier. My cousin claimed to have done Ancestry.com, and he found a direct lineage to a famous poet of the 18th century. Is it possible to go that far? And he's a famous poet, so his name is common.
Well, let's go ahead and share my screen. And let me find the correct one. Okay, so can you all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here is Ancestry. And I'm logged in with my own login, so there's no problem here.
You go to the Ancestry site, isn't that it?
Yes.
What is, that's not JCC, is it on JCC?
No.
Okay, all right.
So this is Ancestry.com. You want to give me a name?
My name?
No, the name of the person you think you can find.
Or the name of the poet, or whose name?
The poet.
The poet, Shalom Shabazi. Shalom, S-H-A-L-O-N, Shabazi, famous poet of the 18th century. Shabazi, yeah, of course he's Jewish. Shalom Shabazi. Never heard of him.
Okay, so here I put in the name Shalom Shabati, and they're saying that
Shabati, not Shabati. Instead of the T, Change the T to Z. Z like zebra, Shabazi.
Two C's?
Z.
Oh, Z's.
The T, please change your T to Z.
Yeah, she's gonna do that. Two of them.
It doesn't matter. You have to understand that whenever you are doing searches, the names need to be not specific, but understand that when names are written, as long as the sound is similar, these sites pick it up because everything is phonetic. And so it may be that the person who was writing the name in a specific record didn't hear it correctly, and they put it down however they heard it. So you have to be very, very liberal in your choosing of how to do the research and check everything that might be possible. Okay, so now we see that we've got more records, but the question is, we're getting things from a time period that is not even remotely possible. So let's go back and edit our search. Can you tell me about when this person, the Shalom Shabazi, was born?
No, I don't know. I know that he flourished. He flourished in the mid 18th century.
So in the 1700s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1750 or so. But he
So-
was well known.
So if we say he was born in 1730, just as an example, this will now help to limit whatever I'm looking for. And now we're down to 70 possibilities. It's still showing me newspaper articles that are totally not what I want to see. But if I go now to birth, marriage, and death records, there is nothing specific. These are approximations, and these are nothing that is, so this might be what we're looking for.
Here's Shulam Shabazz, yeah.
Was someone who lived in Poland, and there's nothing specific with any information. So I'm going to go back again.
Oh, look, Roseville, Poland.
Yeah.
And if I look here, no, that's not going to be it. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go out of birth, marriage, and death. I'm going to go back to all of the categories. And they are not even saying that they have any specific family trees with that spelling, nothing even close, that would be of assistance. So using Ancestry is probably not the best result. So if I go here to Jewish Gen instead, and I want to go to their United Search, and I put in a surname, Shabazi. If you have don't, I'm logged in again to whoever's typing, if you could mute yourself, please. If I'm logged in, and if I've contributed $100, I can put in an additional data type. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so that I can reduce the possibilities. And I will put in a given name, and then I'm going to search. And on Jewish Gen, I also have a very few number of results. And 4 of them are something in the family finder, other people who are looking for a similar name. but this is not the surname that we are specifically looking for. So I'm going to, where is it? Go back here. There are memorial plaques, or I don't know where your relative found that information. It is not easily available. Any records from,
I can give you a few more details that might help.
it doesn't help, because even with very general, we don't get any information. The possibility of locating specific information before the 1800s is very rare. Can we go on to another person now, please, so that we have?
There are some other questions in the chat. Let me go back to the beginning. Anna said, my question is, I have DNA tests done and stored in 23andMe and MyHeritage. If I'm getting 3 to 4% match, then I know what to do. What are the recommendations for 0.7 to 1.5 match?
DNA is a topic on which I have a small amount of knowledge. I can recommend that you look at several other places that have specific webinars that deal with DNA. I know that MyHeritage has a wealth of information available in their education mode, and they have a Facebook page that has Ask the Expert questions every week. And you can listen to what they're saying there, and you can look at their DNA pages, and they also give you a lot of information about how to take those records and make sense of them. The different amounts of centimorgans and how you look at the information between Ancestry, 23andMe, and MyHeritage is very different. Each of them has a different calculation. And so you really need to go to the places where you have specific profiles that are set up, and try to get help from them as to better understand how you can progress.
Thank you, Gary. That's really helpful. Question. So on 23andMe, I have very little match, and on MyHeritage have like 1.5% instead 0.3%. So do you think, from your experience, maybe you heard MyHeritage is kind of, I can believe more MyHeritage data than?
Look, the question is, everything with DNA, you have to understand, is it's still in its infancy. The results are directly connected to how many people have submitted their DNA samples. And so your results are dependent on everyone else who has submitted them, which is why they suggest to share it between all of the different groupings, because each one has a totally different base and they have a different amount of people who are entered in there. So you need to spread it around and understand that the variations in the results that you are receiving are dependent on the people who have sent in their DNA and are within the results that are being looked at. So you take it all with a grain of salt. It's at this point, it's still a crapshoot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. There was a question related to,
I've lost audio.
would you change the location in the search?
Okay, I don't understand what the question is.
Well, the question was about the research you did on Shalom Shabazz.
Yeah.
And somebody asked if you should change the location in the search.
Gary, we're getting a lot of echo when you have both speakers
I know,
on.
I tried. Okay.
Um, 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 um. According to, look, the records that are available on Ancestry realistically are more connected to the United States. They do have an ancestry in the UK, they have an ancestry in Canada, they have in a couple of other places, but the results that we mostly see in, let me try one other thing that I can do, place he might have lived. I have here all collections. I didn't specify the United States at all. What country do you think he would have lived in? Jerry, I'm not hearing an answer.
He's muted.
Jerry, you have to take the large one off of mute.
What country would Shabazi have lived in?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
She says Yemen.
Oh, there's no records from Yemen.
A descendant of King David.
Yeah, you could say anything.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but I was wondering if you could.
No, the Ancestry is not going to be the site that will give you that kind of information. And there really is very few places. I don't even believe that we can get it on. Let's see if I can do some magic with this. Let's see, where am I going to find Yemen these days? Maybe in here.
Yeah, it's a southern tip.
Yemen. In Yemen, the last name Shabazi, there are no results in Family Search. So it's not,
Okay.
there were very few records that were kept from Yemen for any time period that are available from any archive. That's a really tricky one. Israel now has some records available for the people who left Yemen and went to Israel. But other than that, there are very, very few records that are available.
But most Yemenite Jews know about it. They know about Shabazi.
So now let's move on to Julie Sherman's question. Do you want to read that, Julie?
Sure. My question is, how expensive is this hobby I have? Is it unreasonable for me to think like I need to subscribe to some more family tree websites to get like a higher level of information? And
Okay.
am I going to be paying Ancestry every month for the rest of my life to keep my tree there? Or, you know, I just don't know where I'm going with this habit of mine.
So I understand your question and your concern. I'm stuck in the same place as well. So any searches that you do on Family Search are free. So Family Search is always a go-to search, and the results are sometimes things that you can find in other places as well. They do have some of their records now that you can only see the images if you go to a family history center or library.
Mhm.
I don't know.
And I've done that, and we have several here, and they've been very helpful, and that's fine. But I
I know
found a
there's-
family tree on Jenny.com.
Do not have a family tree on Jenny.com. That is the
Okay.
least secure place to have a family tree. That,
Okay.
look, there are differences in the family trees. If you have a private family tree that is on MyHeritage or on Ancestry, the information is yours. It is
Okay.
your family tree and you have control over what happens with it. I would not put a family tree on Family Search because that is basically a Mormon organization. Whoever is typing, we can hear the typing. The trees that are on Genie are considered to be communal property. That means that anyone else can go in and they can take your information, add to it, modify it, and it's no longer yours. They can take whatever you have there and they can say, oh, my branch fits in there, and they can plop their whole branch onto your tree and you have no recourse. So that's not my preference of how to list my family tree. Now, on the other hand, if you have a tree on Ancestry, the tree can stay there forever. However, you need to very, very carefully read their privacy disclaimers because they recently changed them. And if you put any images on the family tree that are available to the public, not that you've marked it private or you're syncing it with Family Tree Maker or something like that, and you keep Mark, you need to be muted, I guess, for now. They are now saying that any images that are uploaded to the family tree on Ancestry directly are property of Ancestry, and they can use them for publicity. They can use them for anything they want to forever, in perpetuity. I went back to my tree on Family Tree Maker software that I sync regularly with Ancestry, and I clicked the box so that those pictures are no longer available on my tree on Ancestry. They're only on my personal tree that I keep on my computer.
And and you can do that. I can download from Ancestry with my pictures and documents that I have on Ancestry and import it to Family Tree Maker. I used that a long
Family Tree
time.
Maker, yes, absolutely.
Okay, because I used to use that, and then I went to this online version, and that's where I'm like, what do I do with
always
that?
have
A
three,
backup.
at least 2 or 3 backups of your information. I would have it on a standalone thing that's on my computer. I would have a backup of all of the information and have a version that is online. But you need to do that quickly because whatever things that they are doing is going into effect like within another week or so.
Something. Well, that's good to know. So to spend money, I'm better off.
I didn't finish with the costs.
Okay.
In order to keep your tree on MyHeritage or on Ancestry, there's no charge to keep your tree. To be able to access a lot of the information, you do need to have some kind of a subscription. Now, you may not want to have or need to have a worldwide subscription. You may just want one that's connected to the US. I don't know what your research requirements are, or you may want to say that for 6 months, I want to enlarge it and I want to have the worldwide. And then I want to go, you can, after the 6 months, go back to having it just be the lower cost that is
I think it's 19 something a month, right?
United States.
Yep.
There's
Although
also,
let me just say that I use the New York Public Library's worldwide subscription, and that is like it's free. So,
If you have that ability
Yeah.
to access that, that's wonderful.
yeah, so.
Now, I don't know if any of the libraries in this area offer that or they don't. I have not checked that. MyHeritage is a different story. If your tree has less than 250 people,
Mhm,
then your tree is hosted for free on MyHeritage.
mhm.
MyHeritage also has a free version of their software so that you can have the software, keep it on your computer. You can choose whether to sync it or not to MyHeritage online. Once you get past the 250 people, then you have to have some kind of a subscription to MyHeritage. Now, their subscriptions are different. There are different levels, different amounts of information that you're able to receive. They have all kinds of technology that works behind the scenes to get you more information, connect you up with more people. And in order to see those details of the results, you have to have a subscription to them. So you kind of have to look around at what each one is offering you and decide how much you can put out on any kind of a regular basis. One thing that I know you can play around with a little bit on Ancestry, if you have the time and the inclination and you haven't done it before, you can choose to have 2 weeks free and just sit by your computer and download everything. But if you've done it before with one of their offers and you can't do it again. So if you put in your credit card number, you have to give them that. But remember, after 2 weeks to cancel it, then you can take advantage of a large amount of information and just grab it all. Download it to your computer. Don't enter it anywhere. Just download all the documents you can and then go back and sort through it all and put it where it belongs. But I don't know anybody who has that much time available right now. Anyway, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, that's helpful, like to prioritize. I already do, newspapers.com, and I started out thinking in 2 weeks I was going to download everything. And it's one of the most resourceful sites. It validates families with obituaries and other information.
Absolutely.
So it's cheaper than golf and some other habits that people have.
Yes.
So
yes. They don't have a full selection of newspapers. It is growing, but it is definitely an amazing resource.
Yeah. So, and the Jewish Gen too. But yeah, that I was thinking, am I missing something by not paying? But I think, yeah, you answered that, and that's helpful. So.
There are more questions. Are you finished, Julie?
I am. I have a more specific one later, but I'll let everybody else go, and then I have something later.
Ann Livitz asked about searching Benjamin Gelfer in Belarus Historic Archive.
In Belarus, yeah, we'll do that now. So 1 second. Here we are back at Jewish Gen, and if you look at all of the complete list of databases that are available on Jewish Gen, there is one for Belarus. If I click on it, it's going to tell me that there are more than 1 million records from a variety of sources. Now, we'll go back up and I'll say that even though you believe that your relative came from a specific area, don't cut yourselves short because people moved around. So, and the borders changed. So what may be you think is only one area, you want to allow yourselves the ability to search in a wider area. So instead of focusing only on Belarus, I'm going to say I want to go into what's called the United Search. The United Search is going to take that name and it's going to search for it in whatever databases it appears. So if I put in Gelfer, and I can put in the given name. Again, the phonetics don't matter. It will check anything and it will match up whatever we've got. So we're going for all countries and I'm going to search. We came up with 171 matches, and now I'll see what it is. So the Family Finder are other people who are looking for relatives with a similar name. There's also 4 records here that people that have submitted family trees that have something similar. And here we go. There are listings here within the Belarus birth database, the death database, marriages, revision lists, the names. And then there are other listings from, there's a Hungarian marriage thing. There are several from within Litvak Sid. And then there are other burial registries. And there are additional records within Poland. So what you need to do, and a couple of them within Gesher Galicia, you need to go into all of them and you need to click and see. Now the birth record oh, that was the family tree of the Jewish people. Helfer and Gelfer are the same name. It depends on the pronunciation in the different parts of the world. The birth database was where.
And I have a birth date. I have a birth year, 1896, and I know the city.
Where?
Yeah, Schlobin, the Schlobin one.
Here you go.
Yeah, this one. This is what exactly I was looking. Exactly.
Oh, here it is. So
Yes.
it tells you the name of, let's look at the record for a moment. This is the
Yes.
third one down. And it says that his father's name was Moshe or Moshe.
This is correct.
And the grandfather was Mordechai, Morduch.
This is correct.
The mother was Hannah.
Correct.
And her.
Hannah Brocha, it's a one name. It's a first name, Hannah
And
Brocha.
her father was also Morduch.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is the date that he was, that it was registered, not necessarily his date of birth, but the date that it was registered. The city and the county and things where he was, where it was registered. They tell you that the father was registered in this community and that he was a reserve soldier.
Yes.
And if you want to see the record itself, you have to write to that archive in Minsk.
Oh, so I can see that without membership or anything. I can see this record.
You
And
can
then I
see
need
this
to write
record
it.
by writing to the archive in Minsk and paying them money.
Right. But what you did, you just click and
In
without.
Jewish Gen, it just now, if I go back and I try to search one more time, let's go back 1 second. I'll do a new search.
Oh, but you log on as you, so you have access there, right?
Let's go back and do a new search. And I'm going to say that this time I only want the last name, Gopher. And we know now that actually we want to keep it in Belarus. Let's say just for now.
Right.
And you can see that instead of 4 names, there are 44 names.
Right.
And the advantage to this is you may see, we now know that the father's name was Moshe. And so you may, if you look down the list and you look to see the name of the father, let's see if we have other people. Here we have a Moshe, but this is not the same family.
Yeah, Schlobin.
This is, yeah, but this is not the same one because this is the father's name would be Nochim and not not Morduch. So this may have been Morduch may have had one son named Moshe and another one Shmula Berka. Okay, here's Moshe and more, and this is the record that we saw before from 1896. And here's another one. So here is a sibling of
Right.
Moshe, of Binyamin. He had a sister Matlia,
Right, right.
born in 1902. And so you can kind of, here's another one. There's Leba.
Yeah, it was the brother.
Okay, so this is born in 1904. So you can go through and you can find, you can pull together families by
Okay.
not going in as specifically as putting in the family name and the first name. Here you get a wider spread and you can pull together more information. Now, you have to remember that not all records were saved. Some records were destroyed in fire, some in water, some when they moved from one archive to another. A lot of things happened. So there may be record sets for certain years that made it through and other years that did not. Records were originally kept in the small communities, and after several years, they were transferred to the next largest community down the road, and then to a larger community. And so in all of these transferals, sometimes things got lost. And so they're not all record sets are there, and what you think should be there sometimes just isn't.
Right, thank you, Jerry. Question, because you log on to Jewish Gen and then you went to Belarus, historical holding. When I do that, do I need to log on to Jewish Gen with ID?
You have to log into Jewish Gen. You have to log in, but logging in is free.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to the next question here. Is that from Julie?
It's from me. And while you're in Jewish Gen, I want to validate some
Excuse me?
records I found.
I also had a question prior to hers.
Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
was there one? I'm sorry, I missed it.
All right, if I have an aunt that has a tree on ancestry that's my side of the family, is there a way to easily transfer her information to a new tree where I can add info from my husband's family? Because I don't want to have to re-enter all of the years of research that she's put on ancestry for my family. So is there an easy way to do a transfer to a new tree through ancestry?
Only if she is willing to send you what's called a GEDCOM file.
Okay.
A special genealogy transfer. And if she is willing to do that, you can then upload it.
Are you both paid members of Ancestry?
Yes, we both are. And I'm already like a person that's able to do stuff on her tree.
Because I've been able to, like, if you go on somebody else's tree and you go into edit, and there's a thing that said add person, and if you click on that, it will add it to your
Correct,
tree.
but I don't want to add everything to her tree. I want to take what's in her tree over to mine. So you're saying that she has to.
I think you can. I think you can. I think I've done that. It was same thing. You just don't want to enter, the person's got the birth date, the place they were born, and I think you can add it to your tree. Like if, let's say,
hear what
your
Jerry
husband
has to say, please. Jerry.
I'm sorry, what?
You can certainly do an easy test by trying to add in someone from a different tree to yours and see whether it works or not. But that would be a one by one. And I think that it may be easier to ask for a GEDCOM file.
Okay.
And see if you can upload that to your, add it into your tree.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, did I get the next question right? Paula, who's next, or Julie?
do Paula's question.
Okay.
And then you can do mine.
Okay, Paula, do you want to ask your question? Okay, I'll get it, I'll read it. Would you be able to show an example of finding the original record using the microfilm data?
Okay, so there is a chance here. I can try this, we'll see what happens. Good, perfect. Okay, so we went here from a listing on the Belarus birth database within Jewish Gen. It took me to a link to a family history library file. And I opened that up and look what I got. So here there are 878 images. Okay, now the ability to look at any of these actually depends on your ability to read Cyrillic and to understand what is there. So if you want to see what it looks like, the registers are divided. It depends on the country. Sometimes it's in Polish or Lithuanian or Russian or Latin letters that you might be able to recognize some of it. There is Hebrew here at the bottom, if you're able to zoom in and read what's like. This is born on the 22nd of Tevet. And I'm going to guess that that's either the child's name, Malka. And here we have, no, that's not it. Okay. Yeah, Malka Bat. Avam. So some of it may be readable and some not, but how are you going to find the one record that's yours? Lots of luck. It is a real example of a needle in a haystack, especially with these kinds of records. You don't know if you have managed to find the right one or not. And this is what you're dealing with when you find a record. So if I were to go instead to maybe within, if you already know now that it's in the family history library, you might be able to find it, and it might be indexed on their website. I'm not sure, but we can try. Let's see what we can get here. If I go back to search records, and I want the Ukraine. They're not going to give it to me. Oh, there we are. No, it was Belarus, wasn't it?
Yes, it's
Sorry.
Belarus.
Yeah,
City of
one second. Belarus. Okay. Councilor Benjamin. 1896.
Okay. And if I have exact city, so this may.
No, don't give them too much information.
Okay.
You don't want to limit yourself too much. So they have no results here for 1896. And we know that the date of the birth was 1896. So they're not much help in Family Search. Okay, the next question
is Julie Sherman's.
Hold
You wanna
on.
read it, Julie?
Yeah, I'll read it. I put it in there so Jerry could see some of the details. My great uncle Julius, who I was named for, came to the United States in the early 1900s with many of his brothers from Lithuania. And there's a lot of records from World War I and II, draft registration and immigration naturalization papers, and it all shows various years of birth. Sometimes the day of birth is similar, but it shows the town they were from and their parents' names. And when I went on to Jewish Gen, the two brothers looked like they had a bris on the same day and were born on the same day, and they were from this same town. There's many of the family was from this town. How do I validate that? And no one in the family ever referred to them as twins or knew they were twins, which seems a little like a thing that people would know. So how do I make sense of the records I found on Jewish Gen? So if you can search for this, these people, and you'll find their birth records showing they were born on the same date. And
Hold on
and
one
and
second.
and
So
they were very close. It wasn't as if they were estranged or anything. I always thought from the pictures the family looked the same. Now it makes more sense if they were actually twins.
Okay, Julius Feinberg.
And now it's not showing up. I found it in the Lithuanian unified search. And then I think I put in Feinberg and the name of the town. And then it showed, Shimon and Yenta as the mother. And then
Hold
all
on,
the,
one second. Let's.
okay. And maybe I started spelling it as Fainberg.
It doesn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
at all.
But yeah, look,
Okay.
try that town and Feinberg, because I think that's initially how I found it.
Come on, let me do this. Okay. What happened? Okay. So surname, how do you want to spell it?
Maybe with Feinberg or like that. Try that.
Okay.
Feinberg.
And
then
what?
I put that town Darshanskis.
Hold on 1 second.
Dars.
1 second, let me copy it.
Okay.
Okay, births.
See the Yodel and Yankel?
And well, it's the same image. So
Right.
let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, maybe on image 206, if we're lucky. And if somebody reads whatever they were writing in, and
Okay, so here there's Hebrew on one page and English on another. And we probably have to go a little bit further ahead because um, so
Julie,
again,
I know Russian, so if you will need, I can translate for you.
oh, that's great.
okay, this is 1898. Hold on, what year were we talking about?
And the
1890.
data that is March, no, 1889 is what Jewish Gen, I think, indexed it as.
Which would be Litvak Sig that indexed it, and here it is at 1890. This is what
18
appears in Jewish Gen
Let's see.
within
A
Lithuania.
Jewish. Oh, okay. So I think I put it in my records. I averaged the different dates that they kind of all used on different documents. Some were
That's hard to do. Oh, so here we're now starting 1889. Okay, so that gives us an idea of where we are.
okay.
And we're talking about December. So it's quite a
Oh,
ways
it was
away.
actually, if you look at the Hebrew date, it's actually the spring. It was Pesach,
Oh, so
third
it's
of
March.
Nisan.
So it's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's, I did
the
the same
12th of
thing and I
March.
was like, but
Okay, so look, it's a process of going through each of these. We're at image 212. We know we've got to go through an entire year plus
yeah.
of documents to get to it. And
Do I just infer that they were twins and just say, or do I
no,
try to find?
you
No?
need to go and find the document.
Okay. And then,
So, you know, just as we saw that there was an image here that gives you the, you can see it's a title page. So if I go back now to the film, and we're talking about image 211. If I go back to the film, let's see if it takes us back to that. Not so much. Here we go.
oh, okay.
Okay, so I can see here that that is 1899. Now here I've got some other thing that looks similar. What are we at now?
1900.
Here we're at 1900. So let's move ahead a little bit. Again, another descriptive page. Now, a lot of times, things were just not, they didn't get into whatever community you needed to get to make the registration. And it was just done
Wait,
late.
go up. That may be it. Go up. No, I mean down. Pull it up. Right there. Doesn't that say Jacob Feinberg there or no? on the column under, next to the one down.
That is
Just,
Jacob.
I don't know if that's
What's
what that says.
it's
But that's the wrong, it looks like 17th of different, no, September. There's a lot of Jacobs, I guess.
So you
Yeah, I
see
guess
that
I'll,
there's,
yeah.
there-
Oh, wait, here's 420. So, okay, so go through and just try to find the title page and then,
yeah, you have to
I don't
go
know.
from here from 223 and see whether you can identify something that looks like there are two names of families that have things going on at the same time. And again, it may have been, there may be a problem in the transcription. There may be something else that happened. There's lots of things that that could
Or
be
they-
going on.
or maybe they waited and they registered both at the same time and they were born at different times. Is that
Exactly.
possibility?
Exactly. Yep.
And even that bris thing doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Correct.
Okay, that is interesting. Okay.
So we're out of time, but I saw one more question, and I'm not sure if you want to answer this now or send an email. It was about where the best place to find deceased people from the Holocaust was. If you could answer that quickly, because I think we're out of time.
There are lots of records that are available. Some Yad Vashem has a lot of things that may help you in finding out details about the family. You can also check through Jewish Gen that would give you information on the family before the Holocaust. And they do have a Holocaust section that has records that are related to the Holocaust. So there are options there are a lot of options if you know a few of the family names and perhaps some of the approximate ages and the community that they may have been born in or left from.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If you need more
Thank you.
information, you can go on demand to look over this talk or the prior two talks. And I want to thank you, Gary, so much for sharing your knowledge with us, and thank you everybody for joining us.
It's been great. Thank you. I
Thank you.
learned so much. I
Good luck
appreciate
to
it.
everyone, and you can get my email from the JCC and send along any specific questions that you have. I can try to point you in the right direction.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody.